everyone. It's May 9th, 2023, approximately 9:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm making this video in reference to the international health regulations and the amendments that were proposed by the United States and some other countries in the 194 nations involved in the WHO Pandemic Treaty and their new policies that they wish to make, which will affect all citizens of the 194 nation states. This message goes to all leaders of those 194 nations, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of my country, Canada, and any health ministers who will be at the World Health Assembly later this month, in secret, to discuss and vote on those proposed amendments. My name is Darlene LeBlanc, and I'm with a group movement called Freedom for Nova Scotia, Cape Breton. Our main concerns are with these proposed amendments to the international health regulations at the 76th World Health Assembly in the deletion of citizens' freedoms, and that one unelected authority or person, the WHO Director General, gets to make the ultimate decisions for the health fate of all 194 nations' citizens. We have seen already with the current Director Tedros, as he has overruled his own committee on advice in the past. Therefore, that decision for 194 nations to come from one person, unelected at that, is a big no. For example, note that these proposed amendments are presented as follows. Article 3, Principles, Paragraph 1. The implementation of these regulations shall be, and this part is striked out, with full respect for the dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedoms of persons. And this was added based on the principles of equity, inclusivity, coherence, and in accordance with their common but differentiated responsibilities of the state parties, taking into consideration their social and economical development. As you can see, with full respect for the dignity, human rights, and fundamental freedoms of persons, has been struck out, deleted. They want it erased. Why? This is terrible and a major concern for every person, citizen of any of those 194 nations, mine of Canada included. Under Article 12, determination of public health emergency of international concern, and this was added, public health emergency of regional concern or intermediate health alert. Paragraph 2 reads like this. If the Director General considers, based on an assessment under these regulations that, and this was added, potentially or actual public health emergency of international concern is occurring, the Director General shall, and this was added, notify all state parties and seek to consult with the state party in whose territory the event arises regarding this preliminary determination, and this also was added, and may, in accordance with the procedure set forth in Article 49, seek the views of the committee established under Article 48, hereinafter the Emergency Committee. Then it says, if the Director General, and this was added, determines that the event constitutes a public emergency of international concern, and this was striked out, and the state party are in agreement regarding this determination, striked out, it continues to state, the Director General shall, and this was added, notify all the state parties in accordance with the procedure set forth in Article 49. Seek the views, and this was struck out, of the committee established under Article 48, hereinafter, the Emergency Committee, on appropriate temporary recommendations. Now get this one. They completely striked out the entire paragraph 3, which reads as follows. If, following the consultation in paragraph 2 above, the Director General and the state party in whose territory the event arises do not come to a consensus within 48 hours on whether the event constitutes a public health emergency of international concern, a determination shall be made in accordance with the procedures set forth in Article 49. Striked out. As you can see in paragraph 2, again, the removal of important things that erases any decision the nation state has. Striked out. Erased. They want it gone. Also, the erasure of the entire paragraph 3. They want so much control that they are willing to erase anything that would allow each nation to decide for themselves what is best for them and their citizens. This is far too much power for one organization to have, one person in particular, the Director General, especially when we are considering 194 nations being involved. The WHO basically wants to take over each nation's constitution and replace it with their own. And in my opinion, these unelected peoples will only abuse this power. We have seen it over the past 3 years with the WHO's flip-flopping advice, which most of the mandates did nothing to combat anything over the past 3 years. I fear the WHO could take a common cold and make it a pandemic emergency and force again nations to lockdowns and to the complete loss of freedoms and rights of the citizens of those 194 nation states. Evidence is coming out on a daily basis as to the atrocities which occurred because of those mandates. This cannot happen again. People's lives are on the line, as well as the loss of bodily autonomy when it comes to the forced medical treatments. If agreed to by Canada, these two WHO initiatives could give the Director General of the WHO dictatorial power to wield undue influence over pandemic response, affecting critically important governance and operations concerning personal health matters in each member country, forcing a totalitarian approach, effectively canceling personal medical freedom. All that is needed for that to happen is for the Director General, at his sole and unrestrained discretion, to declare a public health emergency of international concern, PHEIC, pronounced as fake. The secret negotiations aim to give the WHO the means to take over both the governance and the operation of Canada's and the 193 other nations' response to future pandemics, whether these so-called pandemics are authentic or not. If that happens, the people of Canada face the loss of our inalienable rights to personal sovereignty and bodily autonomy, also known as the right of informed consent. This right is guaranteed to the people of Canada through Canada's ratification of the Geneva Convention in 1949, as well as by our own Canadian laws, the Bill of Rights of 1960, and the Constitution Act of 1982. According to their own statement, WHO's capacity and ability to support member states in prevention and response to public health emergencies, these amendments seek to improve early warnings and alerts, transparency, and accountability in a manner that does not compromise security or sovereignty. Well, these proposed amendments to the International Health Regulations say different, especially when they are erasing important sovereignty articles and paragraphs. Under the One Health, animals and the environment would be given equal status with humans. The Dictator General, the Director General of the WHO, would be able to declare pandemics at the mere threat of a public health emergency of international concern and lock down the world for declared climate change emergencies. All of these powers, which would serve to diminish individual human rights and medical autonomy, would be at the whim of the unelected WHO, and not the whole organization either. One person, the Director General, unless member countries say no and exit the WHO. I urge all the 194 nations to read the book, WHO, the Singing Pig. It is a look at the deep and long-standing corruption of the WHO and its history of damage to health, science, and freedom. Deeply and publicly committed to the massive population reduction and the total overhauling of human society to its master service, like the Great Reset via special arrangements with the World Economic Forum, the One Health, Intergovernmental Negotiating Body, Pandemic Response Treaty, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Agenda 2030, with their goal of global water rights, transhumanism, etc., plus many others. The WHO is not only consistently unsuccessful at dealing with health matters, it is irredeemably corrupt on the breathtaking, enormous scale, corrupting and distorting science, public policy, and reality. WHO is poised to dissolve both national and personal sovereignty and independence as a service of its masters, the pharmaceutical and economic industries, and their genocidal controllers. The recent COVID-19 related responses and recommendations from WHO, like masking, social distancing, school closures, business restrictions, family gatherings, and prohibiting religious observance, travel curtailment, quarantining the healthy, discouragement and active suppression of early diagnosis and treatment, experimental interventions in the pregnant, and most horrifying gene-altering therapy, misrepresented as helpful medical intervention, has been individually and collectively nothing short of disastrous. Each of them has not only been based on non-existent science, but each has inflicted nearly unfathomable harm on the population of the entire world. Despite the known risk, these experimental injections were endlessly pumped and pushed by the WHO. And note, still being pushed in our country, not only by the federal government, but also by our provincial government here in Nova Scotia, Canada. WHO supported, encouraged, and demanded irrational, dangerous, and bizarre measures in the face of the manufactured, manipulated, and misrepresented pandemic designed that many of us believe to increase the destruction and deadly impact, not of the disease itself, but of the measures intended to destroy as much global well-being as possible. WHO's founding document is filled with high-minded phrases which carry not the seeds of widespread health and health freedom, but the seeds of global tyranny, more comprehensive and brutal than any dictator before has ever dreamed of achieving. WHO's founding principles now mean that WHO has a self-conferred right to seize control of literally every aspect of human, animal, plant, mineral, atmospheric, agriculture, and aquatic existence on the planet, allowing full spectrum dominance on planet Earth under, for example, the authoritative rule of the One Health. Ongoing secret negotiations, which do not include you or me, but are strictly limited to relevant stakeholders, are underway to expand that power so that once a public health emergency of international concern, PHEIC, pronounced as fake, for any reason or no reason at all, allows WHO to set a series of potentially catastrophic events in motion, consuming attention, resources, and distorting reality to achieve its surveillance and control goals are underway. To expand that power so that the once a fake is declared, WHO will literally take over all governance and health measures worldwide among its member states. No such takeover can occur among non-member states, of course. You and I have no seat at the table, where decisions impacting every aspect of our lives and that of all future people are being made. WHO traded independence and any remaining shreds of integrity for big money from industry and private organizations. This determination to serve its funding masters has led again and again to vast profits for its masters and unspeakable harm to the people whose health it purports to support, and all in secret. WHO is a captured creature and a vigorous marketing arm of Big Pharma and its aggressive and expansive drug and vaccine sales agendas. Big Pharma dictates global public health policies that the WHO initiates and promotes. Those policies have vastly enriched Big Pharma, and the WHO has been generously rewarded for its services. While the major beneficiary is Big Pharma, WHO takes money and serves the tobacco, nuclear energy, and agricultural genetic modification, GMO, industry as well. This assures that WHO's policies, attention, and activities will never interfere with the business of either the multinational corporations or industrial nations who provide the vast bulk of the WHO's budget. Despite its attractive decorations or insignia indicative of an office or membership of science, compassion, legitimacy, competency, and authority, the corruption and disregard of both data, decency are so deeply woven into the institution that every country in the world should firmly and fully reject WHO and its complicit parent organization, the United Nations. When WHO's constitution was ratified, it was not seeking to destroy the immune system, the personal and national sovereignty of every man, woman, child in the world, nor was it seeking to control every aspect of life through a massive dictatorship involving depopulation and genetic alteration and subjugation of the people of each country. Sadly, and unfortunately for 194 nations around the world, it is now. So, I appeal to the leaders of those 194 nations, which include my country of Canada, to exit the WHO now and save lives and keep nation sovereignty and bodily autonomy intact. I thank you for listening to this message without prejudice. Yours in health and freedom. This is Darlene LeBlanc, a Canadian citizen of the province of Nova Scotia and a constituent of Cape Breton Council. Signing off, and remember, do not be silent. Silence is consent.